The rain fell in a relentless cold barrage over the ancient ramparts of Ilarion, a fortress city that had withstood centuries of turmoil. Yet on this night, the air itself seemed to tremble with an inexplicable dread, a prelude to the chaos soon to unfold. Dark figure raced, cloak billowing. In the dim glow of flickering lanterns, Sir Roderick Blackthorn's face was set in grim determination. Rumors had spread like wildfire. An unholy alliance was being forged in the hidden corners of the realm, one that would spark a war of faith and blood across the lands. Whispers spoke of ancient relics, secret cults, and the gathering of forces whose sole aim was to plunge the world into an era of unbridled chaos. And now, as the thunder of approaching legions echoed in the distance, Roderick knew that time was running out. At the heart of this burgeoning storm was the fabled relic, known as the Scepter of Seraphima, divine instrument, said to channel celestial power. Both holy orders and shadowy cults coveted it, each believing that control over the scepter would grant them the power to reshape the world. For centuries, the relic had been safeguarded by a clandestine order sworn to maintain the balance between light and dark. But now, that balance was tipping. Roderick's mission was clear. He had to reach the hidden sanctuary of the Order of the Dawn before the enemy's crusade could claim the scepter and ignite the flames of a holy war. Yet his journey was not merely one of physical endurance, it was a descent into the very heart of man's deepest fears and aspirations. Every step he took was weighted with the knowledge that the fate of countless souls, both innocent and damned, hung in the balance. As he navigated the labyrinthine back alleys, the memories of his own past haunted him. Once a celebrated knight of the realm, Roderick had witnessed the collapse of his family's honor and the betrayal of those he once trusted. In his heart, the embers of vengeance smoldered of fire, fanned by sorrow and the bitter taste of defeat. Yet beneath that hardened exterior lay an unwavering commitment to justice, a belief that even in the darkest times, honor could be reclaimed. The night deepened, and with it came the first sign of an unnatural gathering. Shadows shifted along the walls. Ghostly figures moved with an eerie synchronization. In a narrow square, a secretive cabal of robed figures huddled together, their murmurs indistinct but laced with urgency. Roderick paused, his senses straining to catch every sound. His hand rested on the hilt of his sword blade, forged in ancient magic and tempered by the blood of dragons. It was a weapon as much a part of him as the memories of his past.
From the darkness emerged a woman whose presence commanded immediate attention. Lady Isolde, the last scion of a forgotten noble bloodline, and a mystic of formidable power, stepped forward. Her eyes shone with a fierce light, mirroring the determination in Roderick's own gaze. "You are late, Sir Roderick," she said, her voice a soft yet powerful chord in the quiet of the storm. The omens were not mistaken. The Crusade of Chaos begins tonight. Before Roderick could reply, the distant roar of an approaching army shattered the uneasy calm. Torches blazed along the horizon as legions of armored warriors advanced. The enemy was not a single faction, but a coalition, a confluence of zealots, mercenaries, and occultists, united under a banner of divine reckoning. Their eyes burned with fanaticism, and their hearts were set on a singular goal: the acquisition of the Scepter of Seraphim, no matter the cost. Isolde led him to a secret passage beneath an ancient chapel, its crumbling arches and stained glass whispering tales of old miracles and forgotten horrors. "Inside these walls," she murmured, "lies the sanctuary of the Order of the Dawn. There, the relic is safeguarded, and the key to ending this war may yet be found." They moved swiftly through narrow, winding corridors that smelled of damp stone and lingering incense. Every creak and distant drip of water heightened the tension, as if the very building were aware of the approaching calamity. In a vast chamber lit by an ethereal glow from unseen sources, a gathering of robed figures awaited them. These were the custodians of ancient wisdom, scholars and warriors who had long prepared for this inevitable clash of destinies. At the head of the assembly stood the venerable Master Ealdred, his beard as white as the snows of the northern wastes, and his eyes deep with the sorrow of many lost battles. "Welcome, champions," he intoned, his voice resonating with authority. You stand upon the precipice of an epoch that shall be recorded in the annals of both mortal and divine realms. The scepter of Seraphim has chosen its bearers, and the path we must follow is fraught with peril and sacrifice. As Ildred spoke, the heavy wooden doors of the sanctuary creaked open, revealing an ominous sight. Outside, the enemy's forces had reached the city walls. The sounds of clashing steel and the cries of warriors mingled with the howling Winda Grim symphony heralding the arrival of the Crusade.
Roderick felt a cold resolve settle within him. The legacy of his family, the honor of the knights, and the very soul of the realm now depended on his actions. Together with Isolde and the Ancient Order, he would stand against the tide of chaos, fighting for a future that balanced on the edge of oblivion. The battle lines were drawn. The sacred relic, the disputed crown of divine might, was at the center of a maelstrom that threatened to tear the world asunder. In that moment, as lightning split the sky and the distant roar of enemy war horns reached their ears, the truth became undeniable. The holy wars were not merely a clash of armies, but a profound struggle between the forces of order and the seductive allure of chaos. And with the first strike of steel against stone, the Crusade began. Inside the sanctuary, where time itself seemed to hold its breath, the murmurs of destiny swelled into a chorus of resolve. The ancient chamberets, vaulted ceilings, and intricate frescoes, a testament to a bygone era of miracles and martyrdom now, served as the crucible where the fates of nations would be forged. Master Ildred's words had barely faded when a palpable tension filled the air. The robed custodians exchanged solemn glances, their eyes reflecting the weight of countless sacrifices made in defense of the realm. Among them, a young acolyte named Tomas, whose inquisitive gaze belied a courage beyond his years, stepped forward. His voice, though tremulous at first, carried a quiet conviction as he addressed the assembly. "Master Aldred," Tomas began, his tone measured yet passionate, "if the scepter of Seraphim has chosen us, then surely it calls upon every willing heart to defend its light against the coming darkness. We must not wait for fate to decide our destiny, let us shape it with our own hands." The acolyte's words stirred the gathered order, resonating with a power that transcended the confines of mortal fear. Even Lady Isolde, whose own eyes had witnessed the tragedies and triumphs of a life steeped in mysticism, felt a surge of renewed hope. Her gaze met that of Roderick Blackthorn, whose silent determination spoke volumes even in the absence of words. Outside, the cacophony of war had grown louder. The relentless pounding of enemy boots against the ancient stone, the clang of metal, and the anguished cries of the fallen blended into a grim symphony of impending conflict. Each sound was a reminder that the battle was no longer a distant threat, but a living, breathing force advancing upon them. Aldred nodded. Custodians prepared defenses, and fortifying the sanctuary's sanctified halls. Roderick and Isolde joined forces, their minds racing with strategies and contingencies. They understood that their mission was twofold: to protect the sacred relic and to uncover the hidden truths buried within the annals of their history. Together they slipped into a secluded antechamber, its walls lined with scrolls and relics chronicling centuries of divine intervention and mortal rebellion. Roderick unfurled a weathered map of the Realma mosaic of territories, trade routes, and forgotten pathways. His finger traced a path toward the remote mountain passes, where legends claimed a secret citadel concealed the fabled Chamber of Echoes. It was here that ancient texts hinted at the true nature of the scepter's power, and perhaps the key to quelling the impending maelstrom. "We need to reach that citadel before the enemy can harness the chaos they so desperately seek," Roderick murmured, his voice barely audible above the distant echoes of war. "The Chamber of Echoes might hold the wisdom we require, knowledge that could turn the tide in our favor." Lady Isolde's eyes glittered with determination as she placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "Then we must trust in our resolve and the bonds that unite us," she replied softly. "Every step we take brings us closer to either salvation or oblivion. Let our courage be the beacon in this encroaching darkness." As preparations began, the sanctuary became a hive of activity. The wise and the valiant worked in unison, each driven by a singular purpose to defy the fate that the enemy wished to impose upon the world. Thomas, though young, proved invaluable. His youthful curiosity led him to decipher ancient inscriptions and unlock secrets hidden within dusty tomes. His discoveries painted a picture of an age when mortals and gods walked side by side, united in the pursuit of harmony and balance. Yet even amidst this collective hope, a shadow loomed. In a secluded corner of the sanctuary, obscured by the flicker of a solitary candle, a figure draped in ebony robes listened intently. His name was Malachi, a defector from the Sacred Order, whose heart had been corrupted by ambition and the lure of forbidden power. Once a trusted guardian of the relic, Malachi had turned his back on the divine covenant in favor of a path shrouded in treachery and malice. Now, hidden in the gloom, he whispered incantations under his breath, his eyes burning with a malevolent light. "The balance shall fall," he murmured, "and from the ashes of this chaos a new order will arise. I will be its architect." Unbeknownst to the Guardians, Malachi had long been weaving a web of deceit. His alliances reached far into the ranks of the enemy, and his knowledge of the sanctuary's secrets granted him the means to sabotage its defenses from within. The coming clash would not be solely with the external legions, it would be a battle against betrayal and the insidious poison of ambition. As night gave way to the uncertain light of dawn, the sanctuary's corridors hummed with the sounds of hurried footsteps and whispered prayers. Roderick and Isolde, now armed with the fragile hope of ancient wisdom, gathered a select group of stalwart companions. Their band was Diversey a knight with scars etched deep by past wars, a healer whose gentle hands belied a formidable strength, and even a reformed mercenary who sought redemption in the crucible of this holy conflict. They set out in the early morning mist, leaving the relative safety of the sanctuary to follow the winding paths toward the distant mountain citadel. The landscape outside was transformed by the early light, rugged hills and ancient forests shrouded in mist that whispered of both beauty and hidden danger. Every step was fraught with peril, for the enemy's spies lurked in the shadows, and the land itself seemed to conspire in the war, a subtle reminder that nature and destiny were inexorably intertwined. Along the journey, Roderick's thoughts often returned to the weight of his pasta, past marred by betrayal, loss, and the lingering ghosts of battles long fought. But now, as he strode through the wilderness with his loyal comrades at his side, each breath felt like a defiant promise. He was no longer merely a knight haunted by bygone glories. He had become a leader in a crusade that transcended the boundaries of mortal ambition. His every action was a step toward reclaiming a legacy that was as ancient as it was sacred. In the quiet moments between marching and the clash of swords, the companions shared stories of their own journey's tales of sacrifice, of love lost and found, and of battles that had left scars both seen and unseen. These narratives wove together a tapestry of human experience, strengthening the bonds of camaraderie. It was in these shared moments of vulnerability that they found the strength to face the unknown, the courage to challenge fate itself. Yet, as they ascended the rugged trails, an ominous feeling began to permeate the air. The wind carried with it a haunting refrain, a melody so forlorn and desperate that it seemed to echo the cries of 1,000 fallen souls. In the distance, dark clouds gathered, and a foreboding chill descended, as though the heavens themselves mourned the coming conflict. At the crest of a steep ridge, the company halted. Before them stretched the path to the mountain citadel, its towering spires hidden behind veils of mist. The sight was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, a fortress carved into the very bones of the earth, rumored to be as old as time and as enigmatic as the legends that shrouded it. Roderick turned to his companions, his voice resolute. Beyond these peaks lies the chamber of Echoes, a repository of our forgotten past, and perhaps the key to our salvation. Our journey has only just begun, and we must be steadfast in our resolve. The enemy may be relentless, and betrayal may be lurking in our midst, but our cause is righteous. Let us move forward, united in purpose, for the fate of the world depends on it." The companions steeled themselves, their eyes reflecting both determination and the weight of responsibility. In that silent moment, as the first drops of rain began to fall and the wind carried whispers of an uncertain future, each one felt the enormity of the quest before them. They marched on, hearts aflame with hope and defiance, ready to confront the darkness that threatened to engulf the world. In the distance, behind the mist and the looming shadows of the mountains, the citadel awaited a beacon of ancient secrets and the promise of revelation. And as the Crusade surged forward, so too did the stirrings of a power long dormant power that, in the right hands, could restore balance, or in the wrong ones, could cast the world into eternal chaos. Perilous climb, chilling air. The landscape itself seemed to transform a realm where nature and legend merged into a living tapestry of whispered secrets and unseen eyes. Here, every stone and shadow might harbor an ancient truth, and every gust of wind carried the echoes of forgotten lore. Unraveling secrets. In the dim light of a cavern carved into the mountainside, the group took refuge for the night. Flickering torches illuminated a vast chamber whose walls were adorned with intricate frescoes depicting celestial battles and divine emissaries. It was here that Tomas, poring over a brittle manuscript he had recovered from the sanctuary, made a startling discovery. "Listen to this," Tomas whispered, his voice quivering with both excitement and trepidation. "The scepter of Seraphim isn't merely a weapon or a symbol of power, it is the embodiment of a covenant between the mortal and the divine. It channels the very essence of celestial light and shadow, balancing creation with destruction." Lady Isolde's eyes widened as she absorbed Tomas's revelation. "That would explain the legends of its dual nature," she murmured. "For every force of light it amplifies, there is a dark echo waiting to be unleashed. We have been chasing a relic that could, in the wrong hands, unravel the very fabric of our world." Roderick, ever the steadfast warrior, clenched his fists as he struggled to reconcile the newfound knowledge with his burning desire to defend his homeland. "If this is true," he said, his voice resonating with grim determination, "then our fight is not only against our enemies, but against the forces of chaos that seek to tip the balance. We must ensure that the scepter is never used to bring ruin upon us all." Testing of alliances. As dawn broke over the jagged peaks, the companions emerged from their refuge with hearts heavy and minds burdened by the revelations of the night. The path ahead led them to the citadel's towering gates, a massive structure, half consumed by the ravages of time, yet still exuding an aura of unyielding majesty. Its formidable facade bore the scars of countless battles and the weight of ancient prophecy. Inside the citadel's echoing halls, alliances were put to the ultimate test. The group discovered a secret council chamber, where leaders of the Order of the Dawn had long convened to deliberate matters of cosmic importance. Here, Roderick and his companions encountered a figure whose presence commanded immediate respect and suspicion in equal measure. Archon Valerian, a revered yet enigmatic elder whose loyalty had been questioned in hushed circles. Archon Valerian's voice, both stern and sorrowful, filled the chamber as he recounted a tale of a bygone era. The scepter of Seraphim was not forged by mortal hands. It was a divine instrument, granted to our forebears to serve as a bulwark against the encroaching darkness. But with its power came a cursy burden of perpetual vigilance, for the scepter chooses its bearer with a mind of its own. His words sent ripples of unease throughout the assembly. Tomas stepped forward, emboldened by his recent discoveries. But if the scepter is alive with divine purpose, then it might also be capable of discerning true intentions from those tainted by ambition, he argued. Could it be that our very quest, our struggle against the impending chaos, is part of a higher design? A murmur ran through the gathered elders and warriors. Archon Valerian's eyes, clouded with the weight of years and regret, met Roderick's steady gaze. Your faith is commendable, knight, he said slowly, but the path ahead is fraught with peril. Should our internal alliances fracture, the enemy will exploit every fissure. We must stand united not only in arms, but in purpose and belief. At that moment, the air shifted. A cold, insidious laughter echoed from the recesses of the chamber. Malachi, the traitor whose machinations had long undermined the sanctuary, emerged from the shadows. His ebony robe swirled as he approached, his expression twisted with malicious glee. "You speak of unity and purpose," Malachi sneered, his voice dripping with venom. "Yet you are all blind to the truth that power is meant to be seized, to be wielded without the chains of ancient dogma. The scepter's light and shadow are but tools, and in my hands they shall forge a new order, a world reborn from chaos." A palpable tension filled the room. The assembled guardians bristled, their trusts splintering like shattered glass. Archon Valerian's eyes narrowed in bitter recognition as he regarded the fallen acolyte. "Malachi," he intoned, "once you were among us a guardian of balance and wisdom. What dark allure has twisted your soul so?" Malachi's smile was chillingly serene. "The allure of true power, Archon. You cling to outdated ideals, but power evolves. It is not bound by honor or duty, it is fluid, wild, and infinite. And I intend to harness it." The true nature of the scepter revealed. In the midst of this ideological battle, a distant tremor shook the citadel. The very foundations of the ancient stronghold seemed to moan as if in pain. Lady Isolde, her eyes ablaze with both fear and awe, sensed an imminent convergence of fates. "Now!" she cried. "The scepter is calling!" In a hidden alcove behind a shattered marble pillar, a pedestal bathed in an ethereal glow awaited them. Atop it lay the scepter of Seraphima, relic of indescribable beauty and profound menace. Its crystalline form pulsed with a rhythmic light, casting kaleidoscopic patterns on the ancient stone walls. For a brief, heart-stopping moment, time seemed to suspend as every soul in the chamber held its breath. Roderick advanced slowly, every step laden with the weight of destiny. As he reached out, the scepter vibrated with an almost sentient awareness. The chamber fell silent except for the soft hum of its power. In that silence, the true nature of the relic was laid bare. The scepter was not merely a conduit of divine energy, it was a mirror of the soul. Its light was pure and nurturing, capable of healing the deepest wounds and restoring hope to the most desolate hearts. Yet, its shadow was equally potent, a reflection of the darkness within every being, capable of unleashing catastrophic destruction if fueled by hatred and ambition. In an ethereal vision, Roderick saw images of the past and future intermingled, a realm where the forces of light and darkness danced in eternal struggle, where heroes and villains were not defined by their victories or defeats, but by the choices they made in moments of profound crisis. The vision was both a revelation and a warning power. In its purest form, was neither good nor evil, but a catalyst for the transformation of all who dared to wield it. As the vision receded, the scepter pulsed once more, this time with a resonant note that seemed to echo through the very souls of all present. Malachi's eyes widened in a rare moment of uncertainty. Even Archon Valerian's hardened features softened as he beheld the relic's true majestia, beauty that was as terrifying as it was sublime. "Behold," Lady Isolde whispered, her voice trembling with reverence, "the choice that defines us all. The scepter offers us a path, a chance to forge a future where balance prevails, but it demands that we confront our own inner darkness. Only those who are willing to sacrifice their basest ambitions can truly claim its power." In that charged moment, the alliances within the chamber were irrevocably tested. Some among the guardians found renewed purpose in the relic's revelation, their doubts dissipating like morning mist. Others, seduced by the promise of unbridled power, wavered on the edge of treachery. The rift between loyalty and ambition deepened, casting a shadow over the sanctity of their sacred mission. Roderick, standing at the nexus of these conflicting forces, felt the burden of his destiny press upon him. His voice, steady yet imbued with a profound sense of responsibility, broke the heavy silence. The scepter's truth is clear. It is not a tool to dominate, but a force to unite. We must choose the path of balance, even if it means facing our own inner demons. The room erupted into a maelstrom of conflicting voices. Some echoed Roderick's call for unity, pledging their hearts to the cause of harmony. Others, led by Malachi's insidious whispers, argued for a new order, one that would shatter the old constraints and embrace chaos as the crucible of true power. As the debate reached its fevered pitch, Archon Valerian raised his hand to restore order. "Let the scepter decide," he declared solemnly. "In the annals of our order, it is written that the chosen bearer will be revealed not by might or rhetoric, but by the purity of their soul. Let each of you approach the relic and offer a silent promise to guard its balance. In that act, the truth of your heart shall be laid bare." One by one, the guardians stepped forward. In the luminous glow of the scepter, every soul was stripped to its essence, its hopes, fears, and hidden truths exposed. When it was finally Roderick's turn, the relic's light flared brilliantly, enveloping him in a cascade of celestial radiance. For an eternity in a heartbeat, he felt both the soaring heights of divine compassion and the crushing depths of mortal despair. And then, as quickly as it had ignited, the light subsided. The silence that followed was profound, a collective understanding that the path ahead was irrevocably altered by the scepter's judgment. In that charged stillness, alliances were forged and broken in equal measure. The traitorous Malachi, his ambitions laid bare before the cosmic tribunal, retreated into the shadows with a final, venomous vow. "This is not the end," he hissed, "but merely the beginning of a new era, an era of chaos and rebirth." As the Guardians regrouped and steeled themselves for the challenges that lay ahead, the true nature of their crusade became unmistakably clear. The battle for the Scepter of Seraphim was not a mere struggle for power. It was a quest to reclaim the very soul of their world. And in that quest, every choice, every sacrifice would determine whether the light of hope or the shadow of despair would ultimately prevail. The day of destiny dawned beneath a sky streaked with crimson and ash. The mountain citadel, once a silent repository of ancient secrets, now thrummed with the tension of 1,000 hearts beating, as one each pulsed a defiant challenge to the encroaching darkness. The corridors of stone and memory echoed with the resolute steps of Roderick and his band of allies as they prepared for the ultimate confrontation. Every face, whether hardened by past betrayals or softened by hope, was set with determination, knowing that the fate of their world would be decided this day. The convergence of light and shadow. Outside the fortress walls, the enemy had gathered a chaotic mass of zealots, mercenaries, and occultists, their fervor ignited by Malachi's venomous promises. The forces of chaos moved with an unsettling precision, as if guided by the same dark destiny that had fueled their leader's descent. Amidst their ranks, Malachi himself stood shrouded in malevolence, his eyes alight with the thrill of impending triumph. Inside the Citadel's Grand Hall, Archon Valerian addressed the assembled Guardians with a voice that resonated like a clarion call. "Today, we stand at the crossroads of destiny. The Scepter of Seraphim has revealed the truth of our path, a path of balance forged from the mingling of light and shadow. We must not let ambition and despair blind us to the higher calling that binds us all." His words, laden with the wisdom of ages, stirred the souls of those present, uniting them against the threat that loomed outside. Roderick stepped forward, the scepter's ethereal glow still flickering within him, a reminder of both its promise and its peril. "Our journey has been long, and the trials we have faced have tested every fiber of our being. Now, as the forces of chaos close in, let us remember that our strength lies not in the relic itself, but in our willingness to confront our inner darkness and stand united in hope." His declaration was met with murmurs of assent, as the guardians and warriors gathered their resolve for the battle ahead. The battle unfolds. With a thunderous clash, the enemy surged forward, their war cries mingling with the clash of steel and the roar of unleashed magic. The citadel's ancient battlements became a cauldron of conflictus swirling maelstrom, where honor met treachery in a dance as old as time. On one front, Roderick led a vanguard of knights, their blades singing in unison as they parried and struck, every blow a testament to their commitment to a future untainted by chaos. In a narrow passageway, lit only by the flickering light of torches, Lady Isolde and her retinue confronted a contingent of the enemy's sorcerers. Spells collided in dazzling bursts of light and shadow as her incantations wove a protective tapestry around her comrades. Each spell was cast with the hope of restraining the dark energies that threatened to overrun them, a luminous counterpoint to the madness of the assault. Citadel Showdown. Valerian Fights. Here, the air was thick with the energy of both divine power and mortal ambition, a crucible where the destiny of the realm would be forged. Malachi emerged from the depths of the chaos, his presence an affront to all that the Order of the Dawn held sacred. Their confrontation was inevitable. In a clash of ideals and raw power, Malachi and Roderick met at the pedestal where the scepter rested. Malachi's voice, bitter with the taste of betrayal, hissed, "The relic has chosen me to reshape this world. Your time has passed, knight." Roderick's reply was a measured counter-recall to the honor and balance that had guided him through every trial. The scepter is not a prize to be claimed by force. It is a mirror that reflects the soul. Today, it will show us who is worthy of its power. As their swords met in a cascade of sparks, the citadel itself seemed to tremble with the force of destiny. The scepter pulsed between them, its light intensifying with every clash, as if urging both combatants to reveal the truth hidden in their hearts. In the heat of battle, time slowed. The past, present, and future converged in a moment of pure revelation. Roderick's determination and honor clashed against Malachi's ambition and treachery, and in that struggle, the true nature of the relic was brought into stark relief. A sacrifice for balance. The battle raged on, and as the chaos outside threatened to spill over into every stone and corridor of the citadel, the Guardians recognized that the confrontation was but one element of a far greater struggle. The scepter's power, balanced on the knife edge of creation and destruction, demanded a sacrificia relinquishment of all that was tainted by selfish ambition. In a moment of transcendent clarity, Thomas and Lady Isolde joined forces with the elders, reciting an ancient invocation meant to bind the relic's power to the collective will of all who sought peace. Scepter glowed, a crossroads found. He could wield the scepter's power to vanquish his enemies, or he could surrender his personal ambitions for the greater good. In a heartbeat, his choice was made. With a cry that echoed across the battlements, he plunged his hand into the radiant energy, merging his essence with the relic's divine force. The effect was instantaneous and awe-inspiring. A wave of pure, balancing light erupted from the pedestal, sweeping through the citadel and across the battlefield. The enemy's advance faltered as the chaos was stilled by an overwhelming sense of calm and unity. Malachi's sneer of defiance transformed into an expression of disbelief and despair as his dark incantations were drowned in the tide of hope. In that critical moment, the forces of light and shadow were reconciled not through conquest, but through understanding and sacrifice. The relic, now imbued with the collective will of all who cherished balance, sealed the rift between the extremes. The opposing armies, stripped of the raw power that had fueled their hate, found themselves disoriented, their resolve crumbling like sandcastles before the inexorable force of unity. The aftermath and new dawn. When the dust settled, silence reigned over the battered citadel. The enemy had been repelled, their dark designs thwarted not by might alone, but by the willingness of heroes to lay down their personal ambitions for the sake of a greater future. Malachi, defeated and broken, vanished into the shadows, a lingering reminder of the destructive lure of unbridled power. In the quiet aftermath, the Guardians gathered around the scepter, now a steady beacon of gentle radiance. Archon Valerian, his voice trembling with both relief and sorrow, spoke softly. Today, we have witnessed that true power lies in unity and sacrifice. The scepter of Seraphim has chosen a path of balance, a path that we must all walk together. Roderick, though weary from the trials of battle, stood with a renewed sense of purpose. He understood now that the legacy of their crusade was not written in the blood of the fallen, but in the courage to choose hope over despair. With Lady Isolde, Tomas, and his loyal companions by his side, he vowed to rebuild a world where the light of honor and the wisdom of restraint would forever temper the seduction of chaos. As the first rays of a gentle sunrise bathed the citadel in a promise of renewal, the survivors embraced a future forged not by the sword alone, but by the indomitable spirit of those who dared to believe in balance. The holy wars had shaken the world, but in their wake, a new era began, a time of healing, understanding, and the eternal quest for harmony between light and shadow.
In the weeks that followed the fateful battle, the battered citadel became a crucible for both healing and transformation. The dawn of a new era brought not only hope, but also lingering shadows, a reminder that even after victory, the scars of war take time to fade. The weight of peace. Roderick Blackthorn walked the ancient battlements each morning, his gaze fixed on the horizon, where the first light of day met the remnants of darkness. Every stone and shattered window held memories of the battle-fought struggle that had tested the limits of human valor and divine intervention. Now, as the realm began its slow recovery, he carried the weight of leadership with a mix of humility and resolve. Lady Isolde dedicated herself to unearthing the hidden histories of the Order of the Dawn. In the sanctuary's vast library, beneath the soft glow of enchanted lanterns, she pored over dusty manuscripts and faded scrolls. Her goal was clear: to document the lessons of the Crusade and ensure that future generations understood that true strength lay in balance, not in the unchecked pursuit of power. Meanwhile, Tomas emerged as a beacon of youthful optimism and determination. The once timid acolyte had matured into a scholar warrior, whose insights bridged the ancient wisdom of the past with the pressing needs of a fractured present. His translations of arcane texts not only deepened the Order's understanding of the Scepter of Seraphim, but also hinted at untold secrets, prophecies that foretold both renewal and the resurgence of long-forgotten adversaries. Rebuilding the bonds. The victory had come at a great cost. Many lives were lost, and the wounds of betrayal still festered in the hearts of those who had witnessed the collapse of trust. Archon Valerian, now weathered by the trials of both war and internal strife, convened a series of councils to restore the Order's unity. Leaders from every corner of the realm, knights, mystics, and common folk alike, gathered in the grand hall of the citadel to forge a new covenant. Their discussions were not without tension. Old rivalries and fresh grievances emerged like specters from the past. It is only by reconciling our differences that we can truly mend our broken world, the Archon intoned, his voice both sorrowful and firm. His words resonated deeply with the assembly, even as some harbored doubts about the future. Yet, in that charged atmosphere of shared purpose, tentative alliances began to form. Through dialogue, empathy, and a renewed commitment to the ideals of balance, the Guardians slowly rebuilt the bonds that had once been their greatest strength.
The lingering threat. Even as peace began to take root, whispers of disquiet spread among the people. In the far-flung corners of the realm, rumors persisted that Malachi had not vanished entirely. His vow during the final reckoning, an ominous promise of chaos, reborn, haunted the dreams of those who had seen the dark visage of ambition. Shadows moved in the margins of the recovering world, and a handful of dissenters questioned whether the balance established by the scepter was but a temporary reprieve. In a remote village bordering the enchanted forest, a secret meeting took place in the dead of night. Cloaked figures exchanged furtive glances as they spoke in hushed tones of forbidden rites and the resurgence of lost magics. Their leader, a charismatic outcast named Seraphine, claimed that the dark energies once channeled by Malachi had seeded a new power one that could either bring salvation or plunge the realm back into chaos. Her words, laced with both fear and defiance, would soon spark a movement that challenged the fragile peace. A new quest unfolds. As the Citadel began to pulse with the steady heartbeat of recovery, Roderick received a mysterious visitor. A lone messenger, his eyes shadowed with urgency, presented a cryptic scroll sealed with the emblem of an ancient lineage. The scroll spoke of a hidden sanctuary deep within the verdant wilds, a place where the remnants of the old magic were said to be safeguarded by nature itself. It hinted that this sanctuary might hold the key to strengthening the scepter's power and protecting the realm from the resurgence of dark forces. "We must follow this lead," the messenger urged, his voice low and fervent. "If there is any hope of ensuring that our hard-won peace endures, it lies in rediscovering the forgotten magics of our ancestors." Faced with this new mystery, Roderick convened a council with Lady Isolde, Tomas, and a select group of trusted allies. The decision was unanimous. They would embark on one more quest, venturing into the perilous wilderness to seek the sanctuary that might fortify the balance between light and shadow. It was a journey fraught with uncertainty, but the stakes were higher than ever. The safety of the realm depended on not only healing old wounds, but also preempting the return of a darkness that could shatter the delicate peace. Embracing the uncertain future. The preparations for the expedition were swift yet solemn. The Guardians, now united by their shared trials and emerging wisdom, pooled their resources and knowledge. Maps were redrawn, ancient lore was revisited, and every available path was scrutinized for clues. In the midst of this diligent work, a palpable sense of determination spread, a commitment to ensuring that the legacy of the Crusade would be one of renewal rather than ruin. As Roderick and his companions set out from the Citadel's towering gates, the realm seemed to hold its breath. The path ahead wound through dense, whispering forests and over rugged mountain trails. With each step, the heroes carried the hopes of a people longing for stability, their journey a testament to the enduring spirit of those who dared to stand against chaos. In the quiet solitude of the wilderness, beneath a vault of ancient stars, Roderick allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. He recalled the fierce clashes, the sacrifices made, and the revelations bestowed by the scepter's luminous judgment. Though the road ahead was shrouded in mystery and peril, he knew that their quest was not solely about reclaiming lost magician, it was about embracing the uncertain future with unwavering resolve. The expedition had begun, marking a new chapter in the eternal struggle between light and shadow. The sanctuary of forgotten magics beckoned from the heart of the wild, promising insights that could secure the delicate balance the realm had fought so hard to achieve. And as the heroes ventured deeper into the unknown, they carried with them the enduring lesson that even in the aftermath of chaos, hope could bloom anew.